this team. You really need players who have a sound idea of how to play in certain positions. They have a sound idea when it comes to their positional awareness. Whether you're a midfielder, whether you're a 10, whether especially if you're a wing back, because a lot for this system to work, a lot of this stuff is actually interconnected. If one thing works, the other things keep flowing. If one thing stops, the the other formations, the other attacks as well, they absolutely stop. So it is a very co-reliant system, and you need players who complement each other, and you need players who actually know how to get the job done.
Yeah. Sort of only positives I can sort of take from that. I thought Sekou Kone had a good game. He looked solid. Some really good balls being played in. Didn't look phased. Looked relaxed, calm on the ball. I thought if Shea Lacey had some good moments. Crossing into the box, thought positive. But yeah, Rasmus Højlund remains
Oof.
yeah remains an issue, doesn't he? He remains a problem. That was more of the same again of what we've seen this season, wasn't it? Really, from
Yeah, and this is a much easier opposition, I would say, in comparison to the Prem teams he came up against, in comparison to the European teams he came up against this season. And I would personally not play him as much, not actually sway into the wrong direction that, maybe we need to look at other options who could probably come into this team and have an impact, because right now playing him more is actually causing more of a problem to us, because him not even being able to shine against this sort of a caliber of a team is a big warning signal for any potential club who might be interested in actually getting him in. And right now, when it comes to the striker department, there are a lot of clubs across Europe who are in need for strikers. So if you can retain any value when it comes to Hoyland, I think the club really needs to look into it.
yeah, that whole attack, it just looks like it's begging for the refresh that we're going to get into today with the his first touch looked all over the place. It looked heavy. It looked again tired and not nothing was clicking for him. Yeah, it was just worrying all over. But I suppose it's a preseason game. Doesn't really. Well, it's not even a preseason. It's a postseason game.
It's a
Doesn't really
postseason
matter.
game.
Yeah, doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, it just was really disappointing to watch and sort of yeah. The season has continued over. The hangover has continued over. But hopefully, when once we get what the people were talking about in maybe that change in preseason. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the news, shall we? The first bit of news is on uh Marcus Rashford. So apparently Marcus Rashford is still a target for Barcelona. So his future at Manchester United, I think, was always in doubt, and I don't think any of us back. But according to Fabrizio Romano, Deco met with Rashford's agent this morning. New boss Hansi Flick has given his approval, and Barca are working on a loan deal with an option to buy. Ben Jacobs has also said Rashford's hoping to decide his next club in June, with Barcelona still very much interested. And then I think Fabrizio just literally tweeted about 5 minutes ago. More on Rashford, he was already keen on joining Barcelona last January, means very keen on the project. Positive feelings on player side again after new meeting, but early stages. Barcelona have other options, and Man United insist on 4 million. So yeah, we've got that old adage, haven't we, Shreyas, of a team wants one of our players on loan with an option to buy. We just refuse him straight out with this because that doesn't benefit any of us.
Not at all. And especially when it comes to a player like Rashford, he is right now a player who can be used to actually, get some amount of money into the club. Again, he's an academy player, so that
Profit.
complete profit actually comes into the story as well. And if you're going to let him go out on loan, it's not really going to help you as much. Like honestly, it's not really going to help you as much. And I think like right now, United does need to look at ways to generate as much as money as they possibly can from the outgoings of players like Rashford, players like Garnacho, players like Sancho and Anthony, because these are the only players who can probably, help us fund a move for like someone like a Brian Mbeumo, help us fund a move for probably another striker,
Yep.
maybe even two strikers, maybe a midfielder. So
Yep.
we need to be very cautious as to how we move ahead with Rashford. And a lone move is a no go, especially for these players. A lone move is a big no go.
Yeah, I think United have got to be stronger with it. Got to be like, look, you want him, you have to. Is maybe you don't get 40 million
Yeah,
for him, but we have to get some. And it's the same with Anthony. Like, if Betis want him, they have to pay up. We can't be just. We'll see what happens. Like I said, Fabrizio Romano said it's still in the early stages. It seems like to me that Rashford wants this move more than Barcelona does. Do you think? Do you think
yeah.
that's the case? Because he seems like he's trying to push this move, and Barca like, yeah, maybe we're interested, maybe we could go. But when I look at their squad, it's like you're not getting over Yamal, you're not getting it Dowski, and you're not getting it over Rafinha. So what? You're gonna go to
You're not
Barca
even
and sit
going
on
to
the
get ahead of
bench?
Ferran Torres. They've
Yeah,
still got the likes of Ansu Fati. They've also got this kid called Fermin Lopez coming through the ranks,
yeah,
and he's a baller as well. So they're quite sorted when it comes
yeah.
to their attack. And even when you look at depth, they've got options. And again, La Masia seems to produce at least one or two generational talents every single year. So I really don't know as to in what competency he actually sees himself when it comes to playing for Barcelona. Because yes, Lewandowski is old, but he's still able to pull out 40, 45 goals a season, which is more than good enough. Yamal is a generational talent. Rafinha has just put a 56, 55 goal
Yep.
contribution season as well. In the 10, he never really fits, and Danny Olmo is levels above in that position. He's pure quality. So I don't understand as to where this move to Barcelona and where he actually how he actually sees himself starting over these kind of players.
It just seems it just says all to me. It's the fact that they're like, yeah, we'll take you on loan. We don't want to pay anything just to have you around and like as an option. If they really wanted him and they were like, oh, this is a player we need, they'd be paying money,
Yeah,
anything. I think that says a lot though. Like, you think Marcus Rashford name alone, you think loads of teams in for him. Even Villa had a piss ended with. Yeah, it remains to be seen
Villa
what
were quite
happens.
interested. Actually, Unai Emery looked quite interested to
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
have him there for the next season as well. But the way he has come out and how
exactly.
strongly he's come out with Barcelona has actually pissed off a lot of people at Villa.
Yeah, and they don't have Champions League football, which Rashford is demanding apparently. Yeah, that we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, just seems it seems a weird one that it just seems like a deal that they don't want, but they'll take if it. But yeah, speaking of money, Brian Mbeumo, we sort of touched on that yesterday with Nick. So while Rashford might be heading out of the club, United are still working on options to strengthening our attack. Brian Mbeumo is one of those names on the table. Apparently, talks have taken place with his representatives. Brentford are open to selling for around 50 million. But there is a catch. Newcastle are also interested with Brian Mbeumo. They're pushing hard. They have Champions League football to offer. And apparently, according to the Muppeteers, Mbeumo is leaning in that direction. So United are still interested, but the focus seems to be on a striker at the minute, possibly Lap. So it looks like United are in second place for this deal. If you look at, so again, we sort of touched on this yesterday with the Lap, with the options that they've got. You look at Newcastle, they're pretty well stacked, sort of forward and 10 position as well. Like you got Bruno Gomes could play in that 10, you've got Jacob Murphy, Anthony Gordon, all these sort of people. Does he start for Newcastle, you think?
Uh, in a way, yes. Reason being, when you look at Newcastle, they're actually in need of that sort of star player in that attack when it comes to that right hand department. Striker, they've probably got one of the best in Europe,
Yes.
up and coming strikers in Isak.
Great
Left wing
midfield.
as well. Yeah, left wing as well. They're quite sorted. They've got the likes of Anthony Gordon in there. They've also got Harvey Barnes as backup in that left hand side. So they're quite sorted in that direction. You look at the right wing position. They've already got Jacob Murphy, and that's it. So they
Yeah.
do, and if you put someone like Mbeumo in that attack alongside Gordon, alongside Isak, it pulls you even level ahead. And when you got someone, again, you're practically putting like 16 or 20 goals more into that attack. So it's only going to get better and better for them. And I can see why they want someone like Mbeumo. They wanted someone like Elanga this season
Yep.
before it started. So we can see, in which direction they are actually moving forward. And considering they've got Champions League football, they'll surely be looking at more signings to reinforce the attack. They need a right winger, they need a backup striker to back up with Isak because of the amount of games they'll be playing. Midfield, they've probably got one of the best depths possible. Gimares is there, Tonali is there, Joe Linton is there, Longstaff and Willock actually slot in there from time to time. So they've got quite a competent midfield, but centre back department and right winger, those are two places they have to look at.
And we know they've got the money because they've not spent that much for the last couple of windows, backed by richest people in Saudi, Crown Prince, so short of money. Obviously, they had was it January they were after Matt Gahey? I think they had
Yeah,
a 60, 70 million bid rejected. Maybe they go back in there and go after him. Matt Gahey and Brian Mbeumo, that's a hell of a window for Newcastle if they pull that off, isn't it?
it definitely is. And those are probably, you would say, the two weak areas they've genuinely got in that team. If they fill those gaps, they'll be a strong contender for top four again next season.
Also, like going further in the Champions League as well, because I know they had the famous win against PSG at Newcastle. So they're in the Champions League. Yeah, it just seems like with these players United are going after, we're facing competition. Cunha aside, we're facing a lot of competition. Obviously, Lap's got a lot of options. Everyone's got a lot of options. So it's going to come down to A, the project, and B, the player, like what.
And three, how fast we can actually move with the deal.
Yes. Yeah. I don't, because I think Mbeumo is dependent on sales, I'd imagine as well, because they said Delap and Cunha is independent of sales, but anything
Regardless.
else is dependent on sales. So yeah, it depends. Anthony, Rashford, Hoyland, whoever ends up going. So as much as I love Brian Mbeumo, I'm not very confident in United at this point. But who knows? We'll see what happens.
If it
But
happens, it happens.
if it happens, Mateus Cunha. Mateus Cunha is expected for a medical before the end of the week. He spoke out on it and on United and said he sees it as one of the biggest clubs in the world. He's not afraid of the challenge despite no European football and a hell of a season. Said he's excited about reviving the club's fortunes. United fans have heard that before, but it seems like his heart's in it. It seems like he wants to come to United regardless. I know we've heard a lot from players in the past. He was actually a United fan. Anderson was his idol, apparently growing up. So it seems like he could be a really important addition to the squad because he seems like he's committing to the squad. He's not getting a massive wage. He's not playing for Champions League football. He's coming because he wants to revive us and he wants to play for us. That seems like the kind of player we should be after, right?
Yeah, definitely is, because if someone is coming to us right now, especially when you look at a player like Cunha, who's not short when it comes to options to actually.
Yep.
It's not that it's only United and or staying at Wolves. He's got a lot of clubs he could actually move to. So for him to then pick United out of other clubs who could possibly offer him Europa League as well as Champions League football is a big, I would say, gesture. And we need someone like him in that attack. You need someone like him, and I think moving into next season, Cunha is going to be a strong centerpiece for us in that attack.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do. Obviously, if the medical happens this week, we will cover it on the channel. Interested to see if he does his medical this week. Surely he's on pre.
Yeah, I think
So,
he'll go on pre-season. Not sure how many. I think at the max, it's always been that one player or just two players end up going on pre-season. So fingers crossed as to how many we can actually get done.
Yeah, we hopefully we can players on that tour. I remember that last tour where we were just like waiting for Ericsson, Malacia, all that sort of stuff. I think Mason Mount was the only one we had on tour, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not great. Not great. We've got Anthony starting for Real Betis tonight, and we've got Jadon Sancho potentially starting for Chelsea tonight in the Europa Conference League final. Jadon Sancho, just a quick note on him. He is still in limbo, apparently. Chelsea have not yet made a decision on the winger, according to final. They're going to wait until after the final this evening to decide whether to pursue a move. Obviously, United would like some clarity soon because player sales could help further incoming, as we touched on with Mbeumo. Where do you think this happens with Chelsea? Do you think he stays? Do you think they send him back and give us 5 million? What do you think happens?
Just don't know with Chelsea. Honestly, you just really don't know with Chelsea. If they want, they can sign him. If they want, they can. Even if they don't sign him, not a big as much of a trouble. The thing is, they've already signed Quenda for this season.
Yep.
So they've already got a winger coming in through the door. So do they want to keep hold of Jadon Sancho or not is completely up to them. If they don't, they've already got other players who can fill into that left wing position and honestly have a bigger impact than what Sancho has had for them. And apart from that, if they're waiting on his performance in the final, doesn't really bode well for us because again, big conference league final for them, and I think other players will end up outshining him.
Yeah, I don't even know if he starts. I know he didn't start obviously against us, can't, but then he did start the
Yeah,
following game, didn't he? So he has had a lot of starts, despite the fact that he hasn't been that good for Chelsea. Not been great at all. Um, yeah, it just is such a weird situation that, like, that's got to be one of the most embarrassing. If they send him back, that's got to be one of the most embarrassing things in
after doing everything he's done, commenting freedom on on Instagram,
honestly.
and you can actually see two sides of the story. One, Betis, Anthony. One, Chelsea and
Yeah,
Sancho.
that's how you do it,
They,
and then that's how you don't do it.
yeah, and yeah, look, if Betis end up winning it, we get around 300 or 400K, I guess,
Yeah,
because it was a yeah. So again, works well for us, and I've been quite happy with how things have ended up with Anthony. Because again, we don't really wish ill on a player who hasn't really said anything wrong about the club,
nope.
hasn't really, gone out of his way to actually, decredit or actually make a poor image of the club that where you're originally from, and then end up having a very, very, very bad season to the point that the club that you're playing at is ready to pay a compensation for you just so that they don't have to sign you.
Madness, absolute madness. Yeah, it could be so weird this summer. Like this summer on
Yeah,
pre-season, we could have Rashford, Sancho, and Anthony in the team again. That could be a potential. Like that could there is potential. Like still not cleared these players out of this. Like madness, absolute madness. I think Betis or somebody else. I know Atletico have been interested. Somebody will come in. He's been
yeah.
really really good. He played excellently. Scored some great goals. I think somebody for him. I think that will get done. Sancho, do there? What do you do? Like if he does come back to United, how would you get him out of the club?
Saudi is the only way. Honestly, they're the only ones who can actually afford his wages. Because I can, in his head, I don't think that he's a player who would be ready to take a pay cut.
No,
Honestly, not. And I can already see Dortmund calling for him again that we are ready to take him, but
don't want to
we
pay.
can't pay the wages. So, yeah. So can you help us out one more time? And I just don't see any club which even has the funds who would come in for Anthony. Sorry, for Sancho.
Yeah,
Because, like, even if, for example, Milan end up losing Rafael Leao this season, they get around 70, 80 million for him. Why would they make the mistake of signing someone like Jadon Sancho to actually
no.
replace him?
Well, they signed Kyle Walker, didn't they, on loan, and he's not staying. So clearly, that's not worked
Yeah.
out. Like he's fallen off a cliff. So I don't imagine why the hell they would. Doesn't make sense. But yeah, that's a worry for me. I like obviously massive wages on the books. I don't know how we get rid of him. I really, really don't. That worries me. Chelsea don't purchase it. We'll see what happens. We really do. We'll see what happens. Right, let's jump into the comments. Let's see what you guys are saying. Lucky saying boring, pointless matches. Let's just focus on the transfer window. I agree. Luke Chapman has just said Northampton Town fan. Welcome, mate. Everybody's welcome. Glad. Temiskin Deliso. United, I want Jokeres, Danny Munoz, Delap, Shekri, Emi Martinez, Simons, Semedo, and Mbeumo to United. Have you got a couple of billion, mate? Because we ain't getting all of those. That's not happening. MUFC Forever, hello. Hello to you. Charlie Marmon, United are shopping in the bottom of the barrel this season. Newcastle are taking in Buemo. We kind of don't stand a chance against them. Yeah, it doesn't look. Danny, I hope Amram is allowed to clear out as many as he wants this summer and bring in what he needs for the system. I agree, but like we just touched on with Sancho and Rashford, how the hell do you clear them out? Because the buyers, not that many. Get Sancho off the issue for PSR and toxicity. I agree. Watch your Puppeteers get rid of Sancho, Anthony, Rashford, Garnacho, plus possible Onana, Højlund would be massive for a complete reset. I agree, but I just getting rid of that many players is next to impossible, I think. Obviously, there's going to be buyers for Anthony. I think there'll be buyers for Garnacho. The rest of them, who's buying Sancho, Rashford, Onana, and Højlund after the season's bad? Or it's going to be very
Who would
difficult.
want Onana right now?
Yeah,
Or
difficult
even
to find
Bayern days
buyers
for
for them.
that matter.
Exactly, very difficult to find buyers for them. I wouldn't be surprised if Onana's still here start next season. James Gorgon, give him away. Whoever can afford his wages, I'm sick to the back teeth of Sancho. Charlie Mammon, it looks like Mbeumo will be sold also. He's on 100k. He wants 180k a week, which is crazy money. I saw that rumor. I don't know if it's been substantiated though. Like,
Mm.
yeah, if he's asking for a huge amount of money, then yeah, I shouldn't that because he had a good season, but not as
I
good.
think more than the money, the biggest question mark I still have over Menu is, will he feature and where will he feature in this team next season?
Yeah, his position, that's a big issue. Where does he play? Because he's not a 6. Can he do an 8? I'm not sure. We've seen him in the 10. He's had moments and stuff, but can he play that right and left? And I don't. Yeah,
Exactly.
tricky. Muppeteers worked out that we can either sell low because a few wages gives the space, makes even more. Yeah, no, I get the theory behind it, but again, like, who's paying a fee for those players? Like, getting them off the books, fine, but like, fee for them, can't just give them away for free. Like, somebody's got to
Yeah.
pay fees. I struggle to see, but yeah. If anybody's got any more questions, chuck them in the chat for the last 5 minutes. We'll try and answer them. I did put a poll up in the chat. How much is Rashford worth? 5% of you said 10 to 20 million. 24% of you said 20 to 30. 55% of you said 30 to 40 million. And then 16% said 50 million plus. Shreyas, how much should we be getting for Rashford if we do?
I think around that 40 million mark
You
is
reckon?
probably where I'd land right now.
Yeah. 40 million for him. Would you say 25, 30 for Anthony?
I think around 35 for Anthony right
35?
now. Yeah, he's done immensely well
Yeah, yeah.
at
Yeah.
Betis. So, and a lot of clubs are interested. If you play it right, you can actually drive the price up. You know, Atleti is interested, Villarreal are interested, Getafe are interested. So that's a lot of clubs who are actually in the running for him. And if Ten Hag wants him back again at Leverkusen as well, you know,
Yep.
absolutely mint him for money, send him for
Oh, yeah.
80 or 90. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, Ten Hag. Do you want? We'll do a sort of 3-for-1 deal. Well, you can have Onana, Højlund, and Anthony, and all.
Anthony.
Have them
Yeah,
all for
take them
one.
all for 150.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll be done.
yeah,
You are happy as well.
yeah. Sorted. Yeah. 30 to 40 for Anthony after his performances. Yeah, I suppose if he wins Europa League, that must add a couple of million at least, wasn't it? He's won a European trophy. Like,
Yeah, I think he's already won a Player of the Month or something as
yeah, yeah,
well at Betis, and he's done quite well. I mean, he's getting a goal or assist every single game pretty much, and his goal catalog is actually quite good. If you look at
yep,
it from,
yeah, yeah,
his Betis goal catalog is actually quite good. So, fair play to him, and I'm quite happy for him because,
yep,
again, he's not someone who I wish ill for, and I think the pressure was a lot for him at United. The price tag was a lot for him as well,
yeah,
and at the same time, the expectations that was actually put on him, I don't. It is not something that I would say he was capable of pulling out. He's not capable of getting us 40, 45 goal contributions a season. And that's how a lot of United fans started to perceive him with since his debut. And eventually he crumpled under the pressure. But now at Betis, where it's a more relaxed environment, where, it's not that, if he's not playing well in one game, the media is completely at him. So because of the relaxed environment, you can see him doing quite well. You can see him playing quite more naturally. And his flair that he was known for at Ajax, it's you can see it all of it over again.
yeah. Every time I check Twitter, he scored an absolute worldie. Every single time Betis play, I just look at him like, he scored another one, and it's like outside the
Yeah,
box and just flashing it into the back of the net. So yeah, it's madness, man, absolute madness. But yeah, like you said, I'm glad for him. Get some money for him, great. We never should have paid the amount of money we did for him. I believe when I think Ollie looked at him when he was in charge, and he valued him at 25 million, And if he would have came in, we would have bought him for 25 million and he'd worked out the way he has. We'd be like, all right, 25, stop words, shift him.
People would just say, okay for a squad player.
Yeah. Or it'd be like Pellistri. We didn't pay that much for Pellistri. It
Yeah.
didn't really work. Shifted him on, and it would have been the same. But yeah, is what it is, isn't it? Charlie Baum a few months ago it said Maino wanted 200. That's most likely some truth to this. Again, don't know due to that. Anthony's already got better stats than Williams. He has. That's very true. So Anthony should not go too cheap. 40 million is fair. I agree. Yeah, definitely. I wish we stopped being linked with players in Italy when we're going to learn it doesn't end well for us. Hoyland, Xerxes, Darmian, Veron. I think Xerxes been all right. I don't agree with Xerxes. Darmian is absolutely smashing it in the Italian league. To be fair to him, it just didn't work at United. And Veron, I don't know if any you're a bit young for Juan Sebastian Veron, but before he came to us, he was in Italy. Absolutely amazing. Work at United. Liam Jones, why do we live in this prison where our players worth nothing? I still can't get my head around Rashford being worth 40 million. Tell me how many players age 27 scored 20 goals. Yeah, I think it's not just that. Like, if you just look at Rashford's stats, then yeah, it's probably worth a bit more. But if you look at the baggage, drama, and the stuff that's come behind it, that's what down a bit. I think that's taken to. James McGuire, I go after Wharton and Joe Bellingham if the opportunity presents itself, especially if Sunderland go down. Leverkusen, is it Leverkusen after Job or is it else in
Dortmund.
Dortmund? Yeah, apparently Dortmund I don't even get the opportunity to go. And Adam Wharton would be worth about 100 million. Crystal Palace will charge, so yeah, I don't see that happening. Garnacho 40 million then add-ons. I think that's cheap. I would Garnacho, I'd say 50 at least. 50 million.
Yeah.
So, but Anthony 35, then add-ons, Rashford 40, Hoyland 30 plus add-ons, Onana 25, Bayende 5. These are reasonable prices to sell. No funds are full. I agree they are fair prices, but getting someone to pay 30 million for Hoyland is an issue. And getting someone to pay 25 for Onana is going to be an issue. So while they are fair prices, I don't see paying that much. Lumen, big up to you, Lumen. Nice to see you. Yeah, I think that is it. Let me just give Twitter a refresh and and Mbeumo popped off last time. Yeah, but I think that is it. So are you gonna watch the Europa Conference final tonight, Shreyas, or too late for you?
Just gonna sleep out on this one. European finals haven't really been kind on me this season.
No.
So better for me to sleep, get some rest.
What's your prediction? Do you think Betis or Chelsea? Who's winning?
Betis is winning. Anthony scores an absolute banger again.
Like that. Add the 5 million to the price tag. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you everybody in the chat for joining us. A little bit of a short one because I'm feeling very under the weather today. And Shreyas is, what time is it over there at a minute, Shreyas?
10:30.
10:30. So Shreyas has got to get to bed shortly. So, yeah, we are going to sign off. Thank you everybody in the chat for joining us. Please do follow all the socials for the latest stuff. I put some stuff off about Rashford today, some stuff about Mbeumo. Yeah, keep your eyes locked on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. I don't know if we'll be live tomorrow or a recorded thing. There'll be a video tomorrow, but yeah, please do look out for that. Thank you everybody for joining us. Shreyas, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.